Hello everyone, I'm a tutor with Applauds and we are going to continue with our SQL training. We did basic querying like some select and we checked for some constraints in SQL. Now we can start with our actual SQL hands-on and going back to our terminal where we would be querying. Let me zoom it for you so that it is visible. So this is the terminal. Here we are going to query. To start with the very basics, I'll just walk you through showing some databases that we have. I have created one database with uplats and we are going to create our tables. We are going to insert some new rows. We are going to manipulate our data using this schema itself. Also, when we were downloading MySQL, when I had told you that there is already a data available with MySQL, that is World Database and Sakila database, on which we can probably query and get more well versed with data. To start with, we have our data query language, that is our select query. This select statement is basically used to select data from a database. The data returned is stored in a result table called the result set. It might be stored in a result table, or it would be just available for view, any one of them, based on what query you have used. So when we are selecting, I'll be using this world schema for now. Let us check that what is exactly available. So world is a database. Let us try to first understand what all tables are available in world database. So show tables from world, I'll get a list of tables. So I have 3 tables in a world database, that is city, country, and country language. So to start with, let us try to query country table. So select star. Star means I'm selecting all the columns from the table, and from I have to select the database name dot the country, that is table name. This is the way we are going to refer to one particular database and one particular table in a database. Select star, that is select all columns from world database dot table name, that is database name dot table name. So if I enter this, there are so many rows available. As you can see, it is running for a very long time because there are so many rows available in this table. I guess the data is executed. As you can see, there are 239 rows in one set. Now this is not a very feasible way to look at data, as there are 239 rows, so many columns, we have to scroll up to check the column names. Just to get a gist of what exactly is present in this data, what we can do is we can limit this data. So we can select 5 rows, selected 5 rows from this table. So what limit does is that it will select 5 rows from world.country and it will retrieve that data from world.country table. So now it becomes very easy for me to read that there are some names for the countries, there are some continents that is present, the region area, surface area. Then I know the population of that country, life expectation, head of state. So I have all this data with me, which is in a better readable format. So there are 2 ways. Either you can describe that table, or you can simply select and limit that table. Either of which is possible. So you come to know that a continent is a varchar type because North America is present in continent. So we already know that it is a varchar type. Yeah, it is actually an enumeration, and later in this course I'll also tell you that what exactly enumeration is. Enumeration is basically defining all the possible values in it. So continent will have only these values, nothing apart from this. So if you want to select distinct continent, you will see only these many continents are available in this table. So let us try to query that way. Select distinct. Let me select continent from world.country. This should give me exactly 7 rows, and the same number is present in the enumeration as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 continents. You would not see, so because that is pre-declared. Basically, that is pre-declared. So whenever a new country is entering this, it has to be one of these continents itself. It cannot be anything else. Now, if we see region, it is a character. As you can see that some variable is written into it. So character, they have predefined it to 26 because there might be possibility that there are less than 26 letters, less than 26 characters. So they have kept it to max 26 characters, not more than that. If it is more than 26, it will cut off at the 26th level and it will give you incomplete region name. So make sure that whatever precision you are giving to the character or the float number, it is as per your data capacity. Now moving to next, we just saw limit, we saw distinct. Now next we have is the where clause. So why where clause is used? That it is used to filter the records. The where clause is used to extract only those records that fulfill a specified condition. That means, now what I did was I selected a country, let's say country code from world.city. Okay. I'll limit it this time because I know how this works. So I have these many lists here. Okay. Now I just want to see data for AFG. So what I will do is I'll simply condition my data here, where world.city, I have column name as country code equal to, let's say, AFG. And now I can see that it is being repeated 4 times. That is because in world.city, we have 4 entries. Let me change it to select star. I'll select all columns and now you will see all the 4 rows. So for country code AFG, we have 4 different cities with us. That is why we retrieved 4 rows when we selected country code. Now, what if I want to check the distinct values? So what I will do is that in the same code, I'll just add one more keyword, that is distinct. So I'm selecting distinct country code whenever I have this kind of where condition. I'll get only 1 row, that is AFG, because I am selecting unique values of country code. Had I not mentioned distinct, it would give me the number of times that was present in our database, in our table. Now there are different types of condition. It is not only with respect to equal to. If you select the table that we had created in our previous lecture in uplats.persons, there were 4 rows present in our table. What we will do is we want to find out a list of those customers, those people whose age is greater than 20. So I will simply add a where condition here. Age is greater than 20. This should retrieve me 2 rows, one for ID 1 and the other for ID 4, because both of them satisfy this condition of age greater than 20. So I have got that data very easily without much effort. So that was about where condition. Now next we will move on to is and, or, and not. And for this, I will want to share my screen with you guys. Let's get back to the PPT. Share, yes. So the where clause can be combined with and, or, and not operators. The and or operators are used to filter the records based on more than one condition. The and operator displays a record if all the conditions separated by and are true. The or operator displays a record if any of the conditions separated by or is true. The not operator displays a record if the condition is not true. So that I guess I can very easily explain this statements with the help of the table. So consider in an and logic. If both the conditions are true, then the condition is satisfied and then the result will be true. If any one of the condition is false, then the entire condition is false. If again false, if first condition is false and second one is true, the result still holds the same, and we have the false condition here. Coming to the last, when both the conditions are false, undoubtedly the main condition fails. So for AND logic, it is mandatory that both the conditions that you are using on left and right hand side of the AND operator, both the conditions have to be true. In case of OR, the either of the condition is true to make the entire condition true. So if both the conditions are true, your condition is true. If one of the condition is true, your condition is evaluated to be true. If both are false, false or false will generate false. And in NOT logic, it is exactly the opposite. If your input is true, output will be false. If your input is false, your output will be true. Let us try to demonstrate this and understand this with our example. Coming back to the terminal, we have a few examples with us. Let us try to work on that. We have the world.city table. So let us select star from world.city, where country code is equal to NLD, and I am also specifying population that is greater than maybe 1 lakh, and district is equal to, let's say, Nude Holland. So Nude Holland, I am not sure if the spelling is right. Let's hope for the best. Yes, it is right. So you can see here only those records are retrieved from the world.city table where my country code is NLD, my population is greater than 1 lakh, and district is Nord Holland. So basically all the conditions are true. So wherever, in whichever row all the three conditions are satisfied, only those rows will be retrieved. Okay, because if you want to see, we can have a look that which conditions got eliminated. World.city, where we'll just check for country.code equal to population. Let us put a limit to it, and you can see that okay, almost everything is covered. Okay, so we have also we have an extra condition of district here. As you can see that with NLD and population greater than 0, we are getting n number of districts. But what I was interested was to find out one particular district. That's why we have added an AND condition. So now in this case, this condition should be true, this condition should be true, and this condition should be true for you to check the output for that result. So this is the output of multiple AND conditions. Similarly, we'll try to work out with OR condition. Now OR can be accommodated with AND conditions. How? We will have a look. Let's write the query. Select star from world.city, where my country code is equal to, okay, it went on to the next line, no worries, NLD, and population is again greater than 1 lakh, will not change that condition, and district is equal to, I will copy paste that which I used earlier. Okay, so we have selected, and now what I'm interested in, that I want some extra condition. Okay, so I'm using OR condition here, and I want to select the other district as well along with it. So when what will happen here is that if district is Nord Holland or district is Zuid-Holland, both the records will be retrieved. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Let me put the correct spelling for it. ZUID and Holland. So let us check what the final output would be. Oh, there is an error because I guess we have messed up with the quotation mark. Anyway, we can rectify that. So equal to NLD and the population is greater than 1 lakh. I'm sorry for this, and my district is greater than. Okay, now what happened here was I did not close this, the quotation mark. Yeah, now I'll get the output. See, so now I'm getting data output for two districts. One was Noord-Holland and Zuid-Holland. So I'm getting output for both the districts. Initially, I was getting only for one. So the condition how it will work here is country code is supposed to be NLD and population has to be greater than 1 lakh. Both these conditions have to be satisfied, and district has to be one of these two, either Noord-Holland or Zuid-Holland. Now there is another way to write. What we'll do is, this is very inappropriate to write so many conditions. What we will do is we will write district in, and then we will specify the options. So first one was again select, copy paste. Let us go to next row so that it is visible to you. Yes, and yeah. Now this is retrieving the same number of rows, if you can see. What basically we have done is, for district, we are giving multiple options. We are using the in clause, as in, if my district is either of this. In is basically working as an or clause here. So that's the same again. And we have the output same for both the queries, using or condition or using in condition. The performance for both is ideally same. It does not make much difference unless and until you're working with a big data domain. Now let us try to check only for or conditions. Yeah, here it is. So what I have done is, I have selected from world.country language, where language is either Spanish or language is Uzbek. So I have retrieved all the rows here, 28 rows. I don't think there is Uzbek in this table. So let us try to find out if it is present, where language is equal to Uzbek. Okay, there is double quotes. This will give us error again. So yeah, we have Uzbek here. Okay, where language is Spanish or language is Uzbek. Correct. So now let us try to select this thing again. And when you select, okay, there is some issue with the quotation mark. Let's try to rectify that. Yes, there is an issue. Yeah, if you can see, yeah, now it should give us result for both Spanish and Uzbek. So you have to take care of these minor mistakes. I was initially using different quote here. I used apostrophe instead of single quote, and that is the reason I retrieved data only for Spanish. It couldn't recognize Uzbek. So when I converted that to single quote, I have retrieved data for both Spanish and Uzbek. So or condition also works for us. So here the condition is that the language has to be Spanish or my language has to be Uzbek. So both the rows will be retrieved. This is basically or can be related to union. Union gives all the results from both the tables. If you union two tables, we will have rows from first table and we will also have rows from second table, provided both have the same table structure. Now let's move on to the next one, that is the not operator. Okay, so yeah. Now what is happening here is that, let us first try to see what is present in uplads dot persons. We have 4 rows with different age parameters for all 4 of them. What we'll do is we want to retrieve all those records where my age is not 30. So I should basically get these 3 rows, 20, 20 and 50. So I have written select star from uplads dot persons where not age is equal to 30. So it will exactly eliminate all the, or it will exactly filter out those rows where it was age equal to 30. So here my age was 30, it eliminated and it retrieved the remaining ones. So very interesting, I can tell you, is the query processing order, how it is being followed inside the system, inside the database system. We don't know how it is being processed. So what happens is that it will first target the from clause. It will select all the columns from uplads.persons. Then it will move on to the where condition. Now it has all columns and all rows from uplads.persons, and now it will check where not age equal to 30. So it will filter out, it will delete itself wherever age 30 is being found. So that 30 will get eliminated, and whatever remaining data it has will be selected. So first from gets executed, then where gets executed, and then select gets executed. Select is the last one to get executed in the system. And with more clauses, I will let you know more about the order of execution. For now, it is from first, then comes where, then comes select. Now moving on to the next interesting thing, that is order by. Now we have to, let's say, see data in a particular order. Okay. So now let us try to first select data from uplads.persons. Uplads.persons. I have 4 rows with me. Now let's say I want to see it in a descending order. Okay. Let's say I want to see in a descending order. I will run the same query, but with the order by clause this time. I will be ordering it by ID in a descending format. So I should now get 4, 3, 2, 1 and the remaining rows. I am getting that same output. So it is absolutely working for me. Now let's try the other way around. I want to see in the ascending age format. So what I will do is I'll use again order by, but age this time, and I want to see it in an ascending format. So now the ID is jumbled, but then the age is sorted. 20 is the least and 50 is the max. So my age is sorted ascendingly, in an ascending manner. Now there is no mandatory condition. The default value that SQL assumes is ascending. Let's say I have taken ascending clause from this query. My output will still remain the same as I just received by order by age ascending. Let's try to run. Yes, I have the same output for both the queries. That is because SQL, when not given something, there are some default values set for it. So when you don't specify ascending, the default value itself is ascending when you don't specify anything. But for descending, that is not the case. If it is descending, you have to mention it because that is not the default value. The default value is ascending. That is, whenever some clause is missing, there is some default assumption that the SQL makes and runs the query. It will never ask the user that which order do you want to select. Do you want it ascending or do you want it in a descending format? It is you who have to command the SQL. So we have our results this way. Now there is a possibility that let's say I want to order it by ID descending, but in a ascending age format. So let us try to sort it for 2 rows. Uplads.persons order by. I want to have descending order for ID and nothing like ascending order for age. So I have this. So what happened here is my ID got sorted in a descending manner. Okay, let me first show you the raw table. Yeah, so this is the raw table. So when I command ID descending, my ID gets updated, filtered in a descending order. So my 4 has to come up. Now in that, you will see that 50 was the age. For 2 and 3, there is a clash. For 2 and 3, age is same. So in that case, the preference is given to ID because that was written first in order. So you can see that ID was the first one to execute. That is 3 got printed first because ID descending is my first command, and then my 2 got printed because the age was same. So that was, if you want to order by different columns or multiple columns, you can definitely do it. Now, let's say this was not much of a difference since ID is a primary column. We'll try to look at it in a different way. We'll select same table for our uplads.persons, and we will order it by age in an ascending format and ID in descending format. So now what I'm expecting here is I want the age in an ascending format. So I want 20 to be my first row. And in that there is a tie between 2 and 3. So I will go to the next command, that is ID descending. So 3 will be given the preference. Here it is. So this way we can order it. You just have to make sure that you are giving the right command to the database so that it understands and gives the output the way you have given the input query. So your input query is very much essential. Moving on to our next topic, we have null values. Null is an interesting topic. We have if you have mastered handling null values, you can master any database. So let us try to see. I have created a small demo in my uplads.users table. Yeah. So I have created 3 rows in this, for which 8 and 9 has null age. That means I don't know the age. It does not mean that it does not have any age. I had mentioned this specifically in our first lecture that age is null. That means we don't know the age. If age is not null and some value is given, that means we definitely know. If age is 0, then we know that it's 0. But we cannot assume that null means there is no age. That is a very wrong assumption. In databases, we should avoid doing that. Now, with null values, let's say I want to check that how many null values are present. So clearly in my database, I have 2 rows for nulls. So how will I do that? Select star from our table that we selected, users, where age is null. I will get 2 rows. So I got those rows wherever my age was null. And clearly age can be taken this way. Age is null. Now, sometimes there is a possibility that the null is present as a string or it is present as a literal. In that case, is null might not work. Let's try to figure out that way. How? But for that, we need to take off describe. Okay. It does not accept null values. Okay, no worries. We will not insert null values, but we will give some value to that null. You will come to know what I'm exactly trying to do. Null, and let's say 20. So here what I have done is that, as seen in the description, name does not accept null values, but here null is a name for the database because you have mentioned it in single quotes. So it has taken null value. You see, there would be name, which you would feel that it is a contradict statement, that name null is no, that means it is a not null constraint. Then how can we have null value here? That is because it has taken this string as a literal and it is reading as some name. Null is a name for it and it is not reading as a command for SQL. So here if I select from start users where name is null, it will give me empty set because it could not recognize the operator null. What we have is the actual literal. So when you do this, you will get the value because null here is actually some value. It is not the null SQL understand. It is the null that noun. It is basically it is a noun form which we are trying to insert. So be very careful when you are selecting such data. That is why this null handling is very important. If you have just mentioned select all the data from my table where name is not null, that will just not satisfy because let me tell you. Now let's say I have these many rows in my uplads.users. Okay. Now I want to retrieve all those records where my name is not null. Okay. So what I will basically write is that looking at this data, my first approach would be writing uplats.users where name is not null. It will still retrieve that row. And that is because I already told you the reason, that it is not reading a null value as a clause here, but it is reading this null as a literal value. So to eliminate that, I will have to change to something like this, not equal to operator, or maybe this also retrieve all the names excluding null. So now when I run this query, you will see that that 11th ID is eliminated. So be very careful when you are dealing with null values. You need to understand that if it is a literal value or is it actually the null value present in the table. You have to be very careful with that. Also, to handle null values, we have one more thing, one special operator, which we will make use of. Select, let's say the, okay. Yes. If I'm putting null, replace it with one. Okay, I'm sorry. Select distinct collace. Okay, I'll copy that spelling because I might be making some issues here. So name, comma, some random name. Let's say hello. All right, I can do one thing. I'll pick up age here, and my default value I'll put it as 20 from my table lads dot users. I'm retrieving all the tables. Okay, so select. Okay, what have I done? From lads dot users, I have selected distinct. Okay, I guess I have done some mistake with the collace keyword. Let me rectify that. Okay, here we are. Let us try to change it. Okay, we have spelling here. Yes, my collace spelling was wrong. And that is why we were getting everything wrong. We'll try to rectify this. Yeah, we get it, 20 and 30. But originally, if you see in my table, there were two values, 20 and 30, and there was null. What it did was it replaced null with 20 and 30. Let's make this more visible to you guys. Select ID. I'll select all the columns for you so that you understand that what exactly it has done with the null. From our table, uplats.users, and select it. If you now see, for null, it has replaced 20. For another null, again, it has replaced with 20 because that is what I have given. So what collace does is it will take the column age wherever it finds the null value. And again, I'm stressing on this, not null, not the literal null, but the command null, which SQL understands. Wherever it finds null, it will replace that with the value that I have passed, whatever value it might be. Let's say my value, I am passing it as 50 or maybe 10. You will see that it is replaced with null values are replaced with 10. So again, this kind of data insertion, this is actually not recommended thing to do. Generally, you will not replace null with whatever values you feel which are right. In this case, it was just an example, but when you are dealing with real life examples, it is not recommended to impute such values. This method is called imputation. So it is not recommended that you manipulate your data this way, because when you're doing analysis, it might give you some wrong results. Now, as you can see that whatever column name I have selected, the same is appearing in my final result. So I don't want to see collace age, comma 1. What I'm interested to see is as maybe age updated, and that's what I get here. So this as keyword, it is used for renaming, or it is used as an alias, that when you take this column, when you select this column, database, please replace that column name with age underscore updated so that it is more readable. Because a layman language who does not understand SQL we'll not come to know what coalesce is, what does this column mean. Is it adding one age, is it adding age by one? Is it changing my age column? We don't know, right? That is why it is necessary that we give proper alias to our final views, to our database, to our tables. Now, that was about null handling. So basically you have to be very careful while you are using null. Next we have in line is delete operator. This is the most dangerous operator, I would say, because when you're working on some production data, it might happen that if you're not exactly checking all the filter conditions that you are using while deleting the records, you might lose out on data. Though recovery is possible, but it is not recommended. So let's first check what we have in our table, ublads.users. We have this record. Let's say I want to delete all the records which has age null. Okay, so what I will do is I'll delete from uplads.users where age is null. Now ideally it should eliminate, or it should delete these two rows for me. And when I select again, I should have only 10 and 11th row in my database, in my table. So let me run this. 2 rows affected, as I can see. Now if I go ahead and check what is present in my table, I get just 2 rows, which is 10 and 11. So our query worked. Now why I said that it is dangerous is because, let's say you forgot to add some filter condition and you run this. And now the remaining data that you had in your table is deleted. You have nothing left now. That is why it is a very dangerous keyword to use unless and until you are sure that you really want to delete your data. Now in delete operator, as I had already covered in our basics, the structure remains. So you can see that the structure is still there. I can insert this data in some data into it and I can still retrieve the value. It's just that we have lost the old value. So the structure is still here. We have manipulated the data. So that was delete clause for you. Okay, we will we'll stop here for today, and I hope that you understood everything, that how we need to query our database, what exactly we need to look for, how to understand data. Even before querying, it is very much important for us that we know about our data, we know about our domain, so that we know that exactly whatever we are doing is making some sense. And that is the end of the lecture. Let me get back to the black screen itself. I'll rather wish thank you in a SQL format. Thank you from uplats. Bye-bye message. So that's my bye-bye message. Thank you from uplats. Let's connect in the next video, wherein we will be talking more about such different commands, how to handle data, how to handle null values, and what exactly, how can we write the most optimum, how can we write the queries in the most optimal manner. Because what happens is that in MySQL, everything is being run in the main memory, which is not a very good idea to execute. And that is why we will talk more about optimization in our lectures henceforth. So again, I will execute and say bye-bye. Thank you from uplads. Stay connected.